6TR, the bright side of Staffordshire.
Hello, Huw Stephens. Thanks for joining us today to talk radio. How are you doing?
Good, thank you, Terry. How are you? Good?
Really good, really good. First of all, we want to find out how you got into radio. What was your first step into the career of radio?
Well, I started in Cardiff doing hospital radio. That was my entry point. I did the Duke of Edinburgh Award, and they said, what do you want to do? I said, I'd love to be a DJ, so they got me into a local hospital radio station in Cardiff, which is still going, and I did a show there, volunteered there for about 2 years, and got my own radio show, which was incredible. You know, gave me that we have confirmed that that's what I wanted to do ideally as a job, and it is. So I was very lucky.
And how old were you when you first started?
I was about 15 when I started, but I think that's the great thing about radio. You know, it doesn't really matter what age you are. There's, radio's for everybody and everyone, everywhere, So I was very young. I was 15 when I started, but, the people I was sitting in on the shows were, they were 50 and 60, and there was 20-year-olds there. There's people who were spanning all the ages there. So, I was lucky to get in early and to turn a hobby into a job.
Can you remember that very first show? Can you remember the nerves, the anticipation?
Yeah, there's always nerves. I mean, it's like just doing the first show on Radio 1, where I now work. It's just, you're very excited, you're very nervous. I think the nerves go away after a time. I think if you were that nervous with every show, then it would be a very stressful job.
Yeah.
But it is very exciting turning on a microphone and talking. You just never know who's listening. You just never know who's gonna be listening in. So it was very exciting.
Yes, and you never know how many are actually listening. Can you remember the very first song you played on Radio 1?
I wish I could. I mean, no, I can't remember. I think it might have been Stereophonics, because it was around 1999. We were doing the show in Wales. I'm pretty sure it was Stereophonics that opened the show that myself and Bethan Elvin, my co-host, did. I'm pretty sure it was a Phonics song.
And did you have any heroes growing up? Radio's something that a lot of people just love from an early age, and they have the heroes you listen to all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, Steve Lamack and Joe Wiley were radio heroes of mine. I used to listen to them do the evening session. And obviously John Peel later on was, later at night was a definite hero, really, just because he would play some things that you wouldn't hear anywhere else and things that you wouldn't naturally come across, So you'd hear folk music, you'd hear techno, you'd hear all these different sounds next to each other. So they were radio heroes. And then more recently, people like Mary Ann Hobbs, Giles Peterson, are definitely radio heroes of mine, people that I love listening to every day, yeah.
Yeah, and on national radio now, it's a melting pot of accents and dialects. Did you think that someone with such a strong Welsh accent could be on national radio? Because back in the day, everyone had a DJ voice, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, I guess. And I mean, I think accents are great. I think wherever you're from, you should be proud of that accent. So I've been lucky in that I've never thought about my accent. It's just how I speak, So it's I've always been lucky, and I'm proud. I did a daytime show on Radio 1, the only Welsh DJ to have done that, so that's exciting. And it's never been an obstacle.
Yeah, good. That encourages other people, because there's so many different accents now, and you do hear it on Radio 1, people doing the news from all over the country. It's nice.
Yeah,
good thing.
Well, that's the thing about radio. It's just a means of communication, I think. It's about people communicating with each other, like you do to your listeners, like everybody does to their own listeners. So it's everybody's forum.
Yeah, and you were the youngest presenter on Radio 1 when you first joined, and you get to champion quite a lot of new artists on the shows that you've done. Are there any bands or singers you're really proud that you have broken to the big time?
There's a friend of mine told me about Lord, couple of years ago, we started playing her in the daytime, and, Lord has gone on to do really great things. She's from New Zealand. Bands like Bastille in the 1975, I was playing them really early on, and you just never know who's going to go on to do bigger and better things, who's going to break it, who's going to make it, as it were. But I play bands every night who don't make it, but they still gig and they still release records, and they're still creatively making music. So I think that's the most important thing. But it's always nice when somebody that you've played goes on to have success, of course.
Oh, definitely. I remember the 1975 coming to our studio, Matt playing a couple of songs for us because they'd supported All the Young, who were a local band here at the time. So we're quite lucky. So, yeah, it is always great to see them go on to do bigger, better things.
Yeah, that's right. And everybody has to start somewhere, don't they? Everybody has to be new and emerging at some point.
Yeah.
You don't just suddenly become huge stadium size 1975 or Coldplay. You have to work at it, I guess, and play smaller gigs and do everything that every band does.
Yeah, and it's encouraging that all the different introducing from all the different BBC radio local stations are an avenue to get to you as well, because you do use those uploaders to actually get music onto Radio 1.
That's right, we do. We get a lot of great music by introducing in Stoke and across the UK. Yeah, we get a lot of great BBC introducing tracks through. And as you say, yeah, it's a great way of sharing that music with people. So you don't have to have a label. You don't have to be signed.
Yeah.
As long as you make music that you're happy with, you can upload it for free via the introducing uploader and share it like that.
Yeah. Your show, obviously people tune in and you're on for a few hours. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So a typical day, do you get into the studio early? Are you listening to music? Is there a lot of preparation in there, you?
Yeah, it's like continuous, so we listen to music a lot every day, me and my producer separately, and then we email each other, get the songs together, and then sometimes I'm in the day, sometimes I just come in at night. So there's no normal day when you're a radio DJ normally, but as long as I'm there between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m., it's okay. But yeah, it's a continuous thing, so there's never a dull moment, and you're always finding new music and hearing new music and thinking, oh, that would be good for the show, and throwing it all in.
Yeah, for sure. And something else you get to do in your job is to DJ and present at some big events and festivals. This must be beyond any wild dreams you had as a child, some of the things you've actually encountered.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Going to Reading Festival and thinking, wow, that's amazing. That's the main stage. And now I've been hosting that stage now for 10 years, so I love that festival. And going to Glastonbury and presenting the television music from Glastonbury is brilliant on BBC Two and things like this. As you say, you never imagine that you'd be doing it, because you've just been a fan for so long. To end up doing it is brilliant. And yeah, going to festivals and going to events like that, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for any aspiring up-and-coming Huw Stephens?
Well, if you want to get involved, just get involved in radio wherever you can, really. Volunteer, help out. It's a hard one to get into, I think. It's a hard industry because there's less and less DJs now,
Yeah.
But the beauty of it is you can set up your podcast, you can do your own things at home with a little bit of homework and a little bit of figuring out how things work. So anybody can do it. It's about finding your stride, finding a niche, finding your voice, and hopefully people will enjoy listening.
Yeah, and do you think nowadays higher education is important for presenters? Because there's a lot of radio courses that you can do at college and university, which weren't there probably 10 years ago.
I don't think it's important, to be honest. No, I think it's nice if you want to do that, but I don't think you have to go to college to be in radio. I think all you need really is passion and ideas. And I didn't go to college, and I think, ideas and passion and creativity is more important than anything else, really, in radio. Obviously, there's some technical things that you have to learn, and courses can be good for that. But you can learn on the job a lot of the time, especially if you volunteer and, have got time to do things for free for a bit. as well as your job or whatever. So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways of getting involved.
Perfect answer. That's what we want to hear. Yeah, go and get your hands dirty. Go and make some brews at a radio station or, help out on a show. That's a good way of getting into it, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, Huw, thank you very much for spending a bit of time on the phone with me today. It's been a pleasure talking to you, as always. Next time you're in Stoke again, maybe up at the Sugar Mill, we'll have to come say hi.
I will. All right. Thank you very much, Tate. Thanks for having me on today.
Perfect. Thank you, Huw.
Bye, bye, bye.